Welcome back to People of Web3 podcast. Today we have our guest Romain, aka Naskaa. How are you doing today?
Very good, mate. Thanks for having me.
That works.
Thanks for coming. So, Naskaa, do you want to do a self intro briefly, and then we'll dive into some questions?
Yes, for sure. So I'm going to talk about my journey in Web3. So I started during the pandemic. I had like a lot of spare time, as everyone, I guess. So I started to research a bit, saw some YouTube video about Web3 NFT, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to give it a try because it seems like people are making a lot of money, people are having fun. It's kind of a game, like a video game. So I tried. Obviously, I've been like rugged a few times at first, like everyone, I guess, because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know, oh, I got like some pre-sales. So I was like, okay, I'm very lucky. I'm going to buy all of them. And then obviously people leave the project or something. So I'm like, yeah, maybe that's not the right way. So I was kind of down because all the money I was supposed to invest was gone in like maybe 1 week or something. So I'm like, okay, I really need to research before coming in again because that's a very like strange world, very like dynamic world. So everything changed like super quickly. So I did more research and then I started to understand like what's like the project's about, what a good project, what's a bad project, what am I looking for in like any project I want to invest in. And like yeah, little by little I spend more and more time in this space. And yeah, after a while, like because there was bull market, so I was spending maybe 10 or 12 hours a day, like just researching project, trading, like investing in project, talking to different people. And yeah, people started to notice like that I was spending a lot of time, especially in the French community, which was very like small at that time. So like some people wanted to launch a project, they reach out to me and they're like, oh, we saw you know a lot about this space. Like we need someone like you who can give us like direction, can kind of not advisor because I don't like to say advisor, but it's more like, oh, whenever we are stuck, which direction we are supposed to be in and which direction we should go in, because obviously they don't have time. They develop their own projects, so they don't have time to research the market. They don't have time to know what's working, what's not working, especially because it's evolving like every week or even sometime after 2 or 3 days, the meta is changing. So they want to know what they have to do in any situation. So I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'm keen to work with you. And like, yeah, little by little, I started to do this to give them advice. And then they were asking, oh, can you reach out to other project, maybe get some pre-sale for their project? Maybe we can also like share something with them. And that's how I started to be also like collab manager, basically. At that time, like it was like end of 2021. So there wasn't like properly like a job position, like collab manager, like project where I'm not looking for collab manager. Everything was on Twitter, like some giveaway, like so that was really the beginning, and like that was really the first like kind of collabs we could do. So I started to do this, and obviously like yeah, I met a lot of people through this, like which are founders, which are like project team. Really a different lot of people, like different position, also some devs sometimes. So I really started to create my network from there, and then people I work with, like from one side of the collab, they decided to ask me if I want to work for them as well. So that's how I also started to work for other projects, and that's how the networks get bigger and bigger. Like obviously your Twitter get bigger, so you got like more easy to reach out by like project as well. Because yeah, it's not really legit, but like on Twitter when you have like a big following, people seems to trust you more, which is kind of stupid, but like yeah, that's how it is for now. So I got like more reach out because my Twitter was bigger, because I got more connection. And yes, most of the collab manager at that time, maybe there was like, I don't know, 50 or 60. So we all have all the projects. So basically you talk to one, you're like, oh, what's your project now? And they give you like a list of like 10 or 15 projects. And you also have a list of 10 or 15 projects. So that makes the job very easy because you can make like, I don't know, 50 collabs in 1 hour time of like just talking with someone. So that was really the good time because all the projects were selling out, like people were making money, like it was easy to make the collabs. And yeah, that was really the good time, and the time where I met like really a lot of people, a lot of different like kind of people in my network.
Cool.
So I
want to like focus on more like your role as a collab manager, and you mentioned at the end of 2021 is when you guys started to be a bit more active, and for projects to see the value of having people like this? And then, because I didn't get into that space until like the beginning of 2022, like start to learn about it. So I wasn't aware of the collab manager role. Can you tell us who are not familiar with what a collab manager is? What's the process? What's a typical process like from the very beginning of the project reaching out to you on Twitter? And then what's the next step? And can you run us through the process? You doing the collaborations, and then what happens after the collaborations? Does it just end and you move on to the next project, or is there anything that you follow up?
Okay, so basically you're building up your resume like any position. So in my resume, I got the list of projects which I'm close to, which I've got contact into. So for example, I know the founder of CoolCat, just an example, right? So I know, okay, I can reach out to CoolCat to introduce your project to them. And if they like it, they're going to do a collaboration, right? So basically, like some new projects will reach out to me and they will be like, okay, we need someone like doing your position. What are your reach you're able to make for our project? Obviously, I cannot guarantee they're going to have the collaboration, right? Because it's at the end of the day, it's the project deciding if they want to do something together or not. But I can at least show the introduction and show the benefits of this project in front of these eyes. So that's the most important. So that's how it starts. If my resume and the reach I got is like satisfying for them, they're going to say, okay, we hire you. And then I'm going to start working. So how does it work? Basically, I'm going to reach out to my contacts and I'm going to show them what's good in the project. I won't just send, oh, this is the project, this is the Twitter, this is the introduction. What do you think? I'm trying to find like what they want to hear about. I don't know if you're doing like a new game. I'm trying to find the setup in the game which are good for this project. Let's say CoolCat love to do like something with more like a gambling game. So I'm going to try to find something which is more related to gambling to introduce to them. If you like RPG game, I'm going to try to maybe introduce the RPG side of this game. I'm trying to find like some way that will attract those people into the new project. So that's how people reply me, and that's how people are more willing to do the collaboration. And that's the most difficult part of the job, because a lot of new people who are doing this job now are just like throwing all the information, and there is nothing like really like customized to the project you're reaching out to, which is the most important, right? If someone come to you in the street like just saying random stuff, you don't want to talk to him, right? If someone like really says something about you, something which interests you, you're more willing to talk to him. So that's how I do. And then once we agree on something, let's say we're going to give like 20 pre-sale spots or like 50 pre-sale spots or some free NFT or something like this. So we're going to run the collab. So we have some like, we decide how we want to do it. So either it's on Discord, either it's on Twitter, either it's something maybe we will do like a Twitter space. So the founder can introduce the project to the community, or maybe some like Discord, like voice chat or something, some games. So we decide how we want to do it, how we're going to proceed with the collab. Then they run the collab. So basically they do what we agreed on just before. And then they will send me the list of either like people who won, either the list of address, if it's something maybe we just deal with like wallet address. And then that's how it works for the first step. So that's really the first step, how to get the winners and how to get the collabs running. And after a while, maybe we will have new developments in the project. So let's say, oh, now we have this game, but we will introduce like some land that you can buy in the game. So I will reach out to them again and say, okay, this is the new update. Maybe you can share with your community. Maybe you can explain to them and see if they are also interested in this update, right? So I'm kind of following up with the project and showing what's new in the project I'm working for, what's the update, and how they can also benefit from it. So that's basically how it works. And yeah, once the mint is passed, let's say, I will maybe try to bring new projects for the holders of this NFT to bring them some benefits as well. So that's basically how.
Yeah. So with the collaborations, obviously the type of collaboration would depend on the projects that you're working with. Like you're talking about a gaming one, you know, who you collaborate with would be different to, I don't know, one that's to do with regen, like regeneration, refi. But since you've been in the space for a little while, have you noticed any general trends? Like how has this collaboration opportunities changed from when you first started to now? Was there kind of any ways that has changed throughout the last couple of years in terms of collaborations, or is it quite consistent to when you first started?
So I would say like at first it was really like a hype-based mechanism. So which means whenever there is a good project, people really don't care what's the topic of the project, what's the category of the project, whether it's like animal PFP or gaming or like whatever, like nature stuff. They don't really care as long as it's hype. They want to get some spots, right? Now it's like more quiet, obviously. So people care about what they want to invest in. So if I'm working for like a gaming project, like the last one I did, I'm gonna reach out to community where like they are willing to invest in a game and they are willing to be waiting a few months or maybe a year until the game is ready, which is not the same as like some people investing in cheat coins or some people investing in like animal PFP who just want to flip it quickly. So I'm just gonna try to target like more customized community because obviously there is less people willing to invest and there's less liquidity. So we need to be very like specific on who we are targeting at the moment.
Okay.
And
And
also the just to finish, there's different means of collab. So at first there was a lot of Twitter. Like Twitter, you post like a Twitter post saying, "Oh, we have like 3 spots to give away. Do this like RT, like tag some friends." Now it's more like some software like Alphabot, like Super, like this kind of stuff, which are making it more automatic and making it more like more, how can I say, more global, which means like if I do a runaway on Alphabet, there will be people having to join Discord, having to like go on Twitter, like something, having to follow something, giving their address directly. So it make it also like easier than before where we have to collect everything by hand. We have to run everything on Twitter. Even on Discord, there was like some random giveaway. So you can kind of like cheat it. So yeah, now it's getting like more legit and more like automatic, let's say.
Okay. So it's easier than when you first started to become a collab
Yeah,
manager. So
definitely.
for those listeners who would be interested in stepping up as a collab manager, maybe now, maybe when the next bull market comes back, um, what are some of your tips or tricks for these for our listeners?
So I would say, first of all, just keep all the doors open because most of the position I found, it's not because I was like trying to like apply for a collab manager position. It's more like people who reach out to me because I met them at some point through random stuff. Like one of them is like, "Oh, we worked together before on something," and he's like, "Oh, are you free now? We want someone like you." Like someone I found on Facebook. So like, yeah, it's really just open all your doors and like be okay to talk with people, even if you don't think they're going to bring you anything. Just be okay to be curious with people, see what they're doing, and maybe in the future they're going to need someone like you, and like that's how you build your network. And that's network is definitely the most important because like sometimes some projects are like very hard to get right, but I know one or two of the people in the project. I helped them before, I saw them like in real life before, so I just have to send them one message and they're like, okay, just we can go ahead with that, like instead of like having to wait for like 1 month to get like a reply or having to send so many messages. So yeah, I would say really like build your network first, talk to everyone you can, like open all the doors, be curious about like what people are doing, and then the more your network is growing, the more opportunity you will have, and then you can really start to get into the business.
Okay.
On that network part, so obviously network is key. You kind of hear that a lot, like your net worth is your network. But what are some ways that you started to grow yours? Like a lot, like imagine someone's listening to this, they're interested, but they've got 0 followers on Twitter. How do
Yeah.
they begin to build that network out? What are some kind of tangible things that they can do to grow that?
So you don't have to start obviously on Twitter. Obviously on Twitter you can just like reply to some, because anything happening in Web3 there will be some debate on Twitter, right? So what you can do is like reply to this like tweet or something, like whenever there is like something asking for advice or whatever, you can reply to this, like showing your point of view. And some people will agree with you and some people will start to talk to you. So that's a way also to start talking to people. You can also join some like voice chat. This is really working a lot because before, like maybe 2 years ago, people go in the voice chat just to get the pre-sale, right? But now people in the voice chat, they just here, they just want to hang with some people. So maybe it's going to be 4 or 5 people, but you're going to have like a very strong relationship with them because you used to talk with them like by voice, which is like way better than just a Twitter notification, right? So I would say, yeah, just go in the voice chat of some communities you really like. Just talk with people. Just maybe ask someone who is doing the job you want. Yeah, can you give me some advice? Can we have like a 10-minute talks? That happens to me a lot actually. Like some people are like, oh, I want to be collab manager. Can we talk a bit? Like maybe I can call you for 5 or 10 minutes. It's easier for you. And I'm very happy to give some advice. I'm very happy to help people how to get on board, like maybe give them also some contacts because obviously sometimes I'm got reaching out by some projects I don't have time to work with. So maybe I will give them the contact as well. So yeah, that's how you can start like trying to reach out to people who are doing the position you want, trying to go on voice chat, trying to just talk on Discord, commenting on Twitter. It doesn't have to be like very big things at first. It's really like step by step. You will meet people and those people will introduce you and those people will bring maybe some opportunities later.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of talking to people, and you kind of bring it back to that simple thing. Like you build your network by talking to people, interacting with people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And you go to the places where you can do that, whether it's someone tweets about something and you go into the comments and just reply, like genuinely, like don't just do a spammy comment, but if they are asking for advice or your opinion, go in there and actually give your honest opinion or honest advice.
Yep.
And that potentially could spark up a conversation, which could lead to a friend. And then, yeah, like going into these voice chats like Twitter Spaces or like on Discord. What is kind of anywhere.
Can be both.
Yeah.
Can be both, but just don't go in the big one. Like if there is 10,000 people, you don't have to go in this like Twitter space, right? Unless you just want to listen, right? If you want to talk, like just go to the small one. Like there is a lot of small one, like maybe 10 people, 15 people, and that's really and try to understand what kind of community you're looking for. Like at first I didn't know, so I joined a lot of projects, but after a while I'm like, okay, this project is more like focused on like maybe Japan, like Japanese like culture. This project is more focused on like gaming, like FPS gaming. This project is more focused on like investing and like different way of investing. So just try to find what you like, and you're gonna find people who are also like the same stuff. So that's gonna be easier to start a conversation and to give you also a point of view on some stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I think some people also wonder, when can we know we are ready to try to get these collab opportunities? Like if we only have 1,000 followers on Twitter, is that enough, or do you have like a rough number? How do you gauge when you're ready to reach out to projects?
So you don't need, like, the number is like really not important for me. Obviously it opens some doors, but it's not really important. It's more like, okay, if you reach out to a project and you say, and you tell them, okay, I've got some contact in this project, I can help you to do this. This is what I can help you in 1 week. This is what I can do in 1 month. Maybe you're going to reach to that many amounts of project, that many amount of people. People are going to be interested, even if you only have like 500 followers, right? But you cannot just come and say, oh, I want to be collab manager for your project and not giving any details. It's the same as like a job interview, right? You need to kind of sell yourself, show what you're doing, show that you're spending a lot of time in Web3, so you know what you're doing, you know what's the new update, and really like show them why they should pick you instead of someone else. Maybe also because you're cheaper, because you're just starting as well. So yeah, you really have to sell yourself to like a new project and explain why it will be benefiting for them to work with you.
Okay. Yeah. And the way that they, I guess, compensate the collab manager, is it usually just the NFTs that they're minting, or do they pay in crypto or fiat?
So one big advice I could give, like there is a lot of scammers in Web3, as you guys can know. So be paid weekly. So don't be paid after mint, or don't be paid with NFT, because you never know what can happen. And it's not, your job is to find collaboration, right? Your job is not to make the project a success on its like globality, right? So you want to make sure you're paid for your work, and whatever the project result is, like 1 month later, 2 months later. So normally I am being paid like in advance weekly. That's ideal, but sometimes obviously like some people, it's easier also because they have a large following, right? So they're like, okay, he doesn't want to like destroy his reputation or something. But if you have a smaller following, maybe they won't be okay to pay you in advance, but at least make sure you're going to be paid weekly. So let's say on Monday, like 10 a.m., you want to receive your payment, right? So that's how I'm doing most of the time. Regarding the price, it's really like, I know some people are charging a lot for no reason, but normally if you want to be like decent and like in the average, I would say it's between 0.15 to 0.25 per week, something like this. It also depends what kind of reach you have. Like, of course, if you can reach all the projects, all the blue chips projects, it deserves to be paid more. If you have like a smaller reach, maybe a bit less, but like, yeah, it's around this average in general. Yeah.
And by reaching the other projects, what exactly do you mean? Do you mean just having connections with the team of the other projects or the community?
When I talk about reach, it's not like, oh, I can send them a DM on Twitter, right? Because everyone can do it. It just, I know I have someone in this project which will read what I send. So let's say I send him like a 15 lines, like paragraph or something. I know he will read it. So that's what I call reach, right? I cannot make sure they're gonna want to collab with us, but I can make sure they're gonna read it, and if they are interested, they're gonna like follow up on this. That's what I call reach.
So
That's
it's the
interesting.
So your value is that I can guarantee these projects, maybe big projects, the team will actually read
Read what
about
I'm sending, yeah,
proposal, and then it's up to
and make
them,
their own opinion.
yeah, their own opinion, if they can follow up if they want to, but you'll get an answer, and it's the connection to that team, basically.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes. But
And
it
also
doesn't
that,
have to be the core team. Sometimes it's just like a mod which know about something. Like sometimes it's just another collab manager. It doesn't have to be the founder or something, obviously, but just someone who can give you an answer and who can like push your project in front of the right eyes. That's the most important, basically.
yeah, I think that's a good detail. Like this reach, if you look at Cool Cats or any sort of project, you've got the founders, you got the core team, then you got kind of the larger team. I guess
Yeah.
any connection that you have within that, if it's a community moderator or advisor or something, that's a connection into that space that you can share a message. And like you said earlier, you don't want to just kind of reach out and be like, hey, can we do this? You kind of really need to articulate the value. If we do this collaboration, this is the value that I could provide your project. And that's how you kind of maybe get that ends. But a good tip on the, it doesn't just have to be the founder. It can be anyone within that team who is willing to listen to what you have to say.
Definitely. And also sometimes like a big holder, like I know in Gojira before, I didn't know any of the team, like when I just joined, but I know one of the biggest holder. So I know if I show him something, he can have like direct contact with the team. So that's also something you can think about, like, or someone maybe you did like a OTC trade before with, so you have like good contacts. You can say, oh, can you just say a word about this to the team, or can you say a word about this to the collab manager, or can you just introduce me? I mean, there is a lot of different way to like getting introduced to someone who can take a decision, right?
So even a holder, someone that's kind of
even a
like well
holder,
known
like
in their community, yeah.
Because they have access to the holder chats, they have access to the maybe like the Genesis chat or something. So that could be also like a point to enter like into contact with someone who can take the decision actually.
Interesting. On the Collab manager, just kind of coming back to some tangible things, you started to mention some tools, some software. Could you maybe just list out a couple of tools, programs or software that maybe you use or that you could suggest other people use if they're looking to get involved in this sort of stuff?
Sure. So the most like famous one, the most used one at the moment is Alphabot. So that one is like basically gathering all the information. So you have your own calendar showing when are the means, which projects you already got the pre-sale for, what time is the mint, and also you can run some giveaway on it with all the requirements you want. So this is the biggest one. There is also pre-mint. Pre-mint is the kind of OG one. So that was the first one, and now it's still used actually. We also have Subber, Subber, sorry. We have this one. We have 3 Atlas. So yeah, there's plenty of different, but like yeah, the biggest one are like Premint, Premint and Alphabot, sorry.
Okay, cool. On your Twitter, kind of moving on to maybe a slightly different subject, but on your Twitter, it says onboarding brands into Web3 through education. This is quite an interesting topic for me because obviously I believe in Web3, I believe in the values. And so like I'm interested in kind of moving as many people into the space as possible as well. But what are some, like if you had to try and, if you could only communicate to these people using a couple of dot points, what would those main kind of dot points be? Like what are the most compelling arguments or reasons for brands to kind of move into Web3 from your point of view? Like what's the value in them kind of crossing the border into Web3?
Just for the little story. So I like some of my friends saw me spending a lot of time in Web3 NFT, so they kind of started to be curious about what I'm doing, and their company actually like also been curious about Web3, about NFT, crypto. So they started to ask me, oh, can you maybe provide some like training session for them? So that's how actually I started, and I did like some training session for like some very famous brands as well. So if I have to reply your question on which like points it's most important for brand, it's first of all awareness of what is happening, because they're seeing like their competitors. I did a lot for like luxury brands, and they're seeing their competitors like launching projects, launching like some metaverse like project, launching like some like physical and digital like projects as well, NFT, and they want to know, okay, what it is all about, and what's the benefits of it, what's the like backslash of it, like yeah, how can we do something in it? So you have to know what it is, you have to know why people are doing this. So either it's like to do like just a marketing campaign, either it's like just to show that they are like kind of techie brand, like trying to make a new image of their like brand culture or brand like image, let's say. Either it's maybe they just want to raise money, if they're going to launch like a project like to raise money, maybe like Nike did with Artifact. They bought Artifact, like a digital sneakers company, and they launched their own NFT collection with Artifact. So that was a way to raise money, to get like a bigger community, to onboard more users which are like more digital friendly, let's say, because maybe the brand at first is not like very digital, it's more like physical store all the way. And yeah, so that's the first thing, being aware of what is happening, being aware of what you can do, and being aware of what it can bring you. So that's the first thing. And then once you really want to start doing something, you have to do it the right way. So my advice for the brand is really to be accompanied by people who know what they are doing, because we are seeing so many projects, like even brand projects, even like very like big brands launching something, and then like 2 months later there is nothing left. Like they just didn't know why they do this. They just, oh, we have to launch something, so we launch something random, and then we see what happens. You cannot do like this. You have to know what you want to do, what's your goal, and then you launch something. It's not the other way around. So that's my second advice for brand, is to really be accompanied by people who know what they are doing. And the last one will be like to not to rush. Of course, you don't want to miss the train, but you don't have to rush as well. It's like Web3 is here to stay. We're just at the beginning. You don't have, even if you don't launch like this year, that we're going to be okay. So you're not missing the train as of now, but you don't want to rush things. You just want to be ready, just to know enough for when it's like the Web3 space is ready for brands to really like start and to develop like products like metaverse or whatever, just to be ready at that time. But you don't have to launch now because your competitor are also launching now, right?
Yeah, interesting. The one around awareness is kind of a big one. Like when I think about that question, there's so many detailed things that I think about for why like a brand should come into Web3. But like if you're not too familiar with Web3, you probably just want to know what it is. Like what is Web3? What does it mean? What's blockchain? So it's kind of like just being aware of what this is. And then once you're aware about it and you're potentially interested, the next thing you're talking about is what is my first step? If I'm going to enter crypto, if I'm going to enter blockchain, what does my first step look like? And to understand what that first step looks like, you really need to be surrounded by people that actually know Web3 so that they can walk your hand through this and advise you on what that step looks like. And also the timing around it. Like you don't have to, Web3 isn't going anywhere. You don't need a FOMO into it. Like maybe you can just be aware of it, start planning, and you don't have to pull the trigger now. Maybe it's a bit later, but just kind of getting an understanding and being ready, and then kind of entering when the time is right. Good tips. Yeah.
I have a funny story. So I did like a training session for like a luxury brand, and like a few days later, like the digital manager of that brand just reached out to me because she wanted to buy the domain name .is of the brand. So she was like, "Oh, do you think this is gonna like increase in value in the future?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so, but like that's already very expensive actually." Like, so yeah, like I think it's also making like because I do this kind of training to people who have like high position in the companies, so it's also making them curious to also by themselves maybe like researching more, not only what I'm teaching them but also like researching more by themselves and like kind of onboarding also more people, right? But if your manager is very like willing to do also like Web3 opportunities, Web3 ventures, obviously the team is going to be interested in it. It's going to research about it. So that's also a way to onboard people. That's why I'm saying onboarding like brand and people into Web3, because just like maybe sometimes talking to 10 people will make it like, oh, maybe 100 people after 1 year, 1,000 people after 2 years. You don't know what people are going to share from it, right?
Gotcha.
Can you share with us some of the brands that you did the trainings for?
Yeah, I can share a few. So there was like Cartier, like the jewelry brand. There was eToro, and there was like a few LVMH brand as well. I cannot just give the name, but yeah, there was a few LVMH brand as well.
And were you doing it just by yourself, or do you have a team? How did it work?
So I'm the core like of the training, but I have also a team of 2 people who are helping me on some parts, like who are more like one is more focused on the metaverse. So he created some land, he created some metaverse project as well. So it's more focused on the metaverse part with like Roblox, with like Sandbox, this kind of stuff. And one is more like focused on the marketing part, because obviously I'm like, my knowledge is more about Web3, but I'm not like a marketing pro, let's say. So yeah, one is more focused on marketing and I'm more like the Web3 knowledge, and like another one is more like the metaverse and like the land, like how to really like create your own land, what you can do for a brand if you buy like some metaverse land, if you want to do some exhibition, this kind of stuff. Right?
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna hop back a bit, actually, back to your journey as a collab manager or as a NFT collector yourself. Can you share with us your biggest win and biggest loss as a collab manager or NFT collector in the past couple of years?
I would say the biggest win is first of all the people I met, because like that opens like a lot of door like for like job opportunities, for like nice like encounter. Like let's say we met together in New York City. Without the Web3, we couldn't have met at all. Like also like some meetups in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, like the community I'm based in Hong Kong, so the community is very large in Hong Kong. So that makes you meet up a lot of people, even not related to Web3. You will like have some opportunities for Web2 jobs, some opportunities to discover new places. So I would say that's my biggest win. Obviously, there is some like financial wins as well, but like that's the biggest one is like the people I met on the way and the opportunities I can have through those people. And the biggest loss is like that is not really like a big loss. I mean, of course, I lost money on some projects, but like that's part of the game also. Like the easiest to win the money, the easiest you also waste it on some projects, right? So if you, I don't know, you make like 5 Is on one mint, you are like, oh, I'm gonna spend 4 Is to buy these projects, and like 1 week later, this project is done to zero. So you're like, okay, that's kind of the drawback of the things, right? So yeah, I wouldn't say there is a big loss. It's more like it's kind of sad sometimes to see like people like falling for scams, people like falling for like rug projects which are only like good marketing when there is like very good projects like building like products like working like for 1 year, 2 years, which didn't have much attention. So it's this part is kind of the part I regret a bit, but like, hopefully we can like make it change, and hopefully people get more educated on where to put their money on and what kind of team they want to support as well. Like.
Cool.
Yeah, the education on the rugs is a big one. I think everyone that's been in this space, even just a short period of time, has probably experienced a rug or two. It's an unfortunate reality, but I guess a side effect of being decentralized is, I guess, anyone can kind of contribute and participate, whether for good or for bad.
Sure.
We on the NFTs, what are some of your favorites, and like maybe give a quick reason to why you like it? What some of the reasons are?
So according to what I just said, like I'm more focusing now because there is less liquidity, so there is like less like flip or whatever. So I'm more focusing now on the teams which are really building like some products which are really like here for long, which are really like organized. Let's say organized as a startup, like as a company. It's not only, oh, we raise like 5 million and then we're going to spend 5 million in 1 year and then we're going to see what's happening, right? So my favorite one is like Project Gojira, because they really have like a proper team, like a proper organization. They have like 15 people who got paid like monthly with a salary, and they still have like a very huge like vault where they have like enough like business to run the company for like 2 or 3 years. So they're focusing on like different stream of income. Not only like it's not only like the NFT hype, like, oh, we have a good community is everything. We have the IP. At the end of the day, it doesn't bring you any money, right? If the price of the NFT is going down, community is nothing at the end of the day, right? It's just something because the price is high. So we are kind of, oh, we have the Rolex, we have like a Ferrari, so it's very expensive. So we are like a kind of a club. But if your Rolex tomorrow is worth like 10 USD, nobody is gonna be like, oh, we have like a Rolex together, right? So yeah, community is kind of a big word, but there is not really a meaning. I mean, there is a meaning behind it, but it's not enough for a project to like be sustainable. So I'm really looking at projects which are like wanting to build like proper products which are getting used by many people, projects which are building like different way of income. Let's say like some investment, let's say like some participation in the project equity, let's say some share for like for some launchpad, this kind of stuff. That's why Gojira is really like my first pick, because they really know where they want to go, and they really try to like set up everything to give like the holders different stream of incomes, different opportunities of like earning money through holding the project, and not only by buying the project low and selling it high. So that's why I'm really like into this project Gojira, and I also bought with Frank like one together. So yeah, that's the first one. The second one is the gods, because this one is like, so obviously the community is very strong, but as I say, it's not the most important. But this guy is really wanting to innovate all the time. Like he's not only following, oh, this project A launched something which was really good, so we're gonna launch the same thing. So the first mover already like got all the benefits, so the second one won't have the same, right? So I'm really interested in teams which are willing to innovate, which are willing to like do something new, even though they don't know what will be the result. They're just trying until something works, and that's what I like as well. And I feel like DGods is really doing like this. Like they're always like doing something new, always trying new stuff. If people don't like, maybe they're gonna change it after, but like at least they're trying new stuff, and that's what makes like people excited and people wanting to invest in this kind of company. You can think of it like a Tesla or SpaceX. Like they don't know if it's gonna work. They know they want to try at least. And at the end of the day, maybe some stuff works, some stuff doesn't work. But people are willing to invest in it because they wanna know, oh, what will be the next thing they're gonna try and how it's gonna work.
So the innovation is kind of key.
That's my two biggest community.
Yeah. The innovation one is important because it's not easy to copy and paste someone else's steps that they've taken, but you still have to put in the work. But yeah, the innovating is a completely different challenge. You're kind of inventing what this thing could look like as opposed to just following a blueprint from a different project. For the listeners kind of interested in what you're doing and wanting to connect online, how can they connect with you online?
So you can reach out to me on Twitter. So it's I think you're gonna put the information in the link. But it's like Naskaa, Naskaa.eth. And you can reach out to me on Twitter, on Discord as well, like Naskaa, Naska. And yeah, I'm gonna be happy to have a talk with you, or like whenever replying your questions. Like if you're asking for some advice, I'm always trying to reply all the message, because no matter how big you are, like you might have something like interesting, you might have something like good to say. So yeah, I'm trying to reply everyone, and sometimes it takes longer than other time, but like yeah, I'm trying to reply everyone. Even if you have like 2 followers, I don't care. Like everyone has something interesting to say, and every point of view is good to know.
Cool. So we'll add all those links down below. For the final question, it's kind of just a fun one, just to end the podcast on. But obviously, we're here because we all believe in Web3. It's exciting for whatever reason. But for you, when you look at the future of Web3, 5-10 years into the future, what excites you about that world? Like, what are you looking forward to in the space of Web3?
First of all, I'm very curious how the projects can evolve and can really like onboard like a bigger community, because for now at max it will be like, I don't know, 40,000 people, 50,000 people, but you cannot make it like a proper brand if you don't onboard like more people. So we saw with Pudgy Penguins, for example, they are doing like some stuffed animal sold in like the toy shop, this kind of stuff. So that's already a good way to have like more people knowing about the project. And maybe in the future, I don't know, in a few years, you will have like 1 million people like being part of one project. So of course, it won't be the same like process as now. It won't be like 10,000 USD NFT. It won't be like, oh, you need like a Ethereum wallet to mint or whatever. It will be like way smoother. It will be also the brands like doing it. But I want to see how this phase of onboarding the most people is going to work, and how people are going to innovate to make it like appealing for the most of us. Like that's what really makes me excited, and I'm hopefully I'm going to take part of this, and hopefully I'm going to also help like some project to also expand their horizon, let's say.